So today I'm going to be reacting to this video. It's called The Truth About Living in Germany, an American's Point of View. So yeah, I love finding out about people's experiences living in Germany. It's good to get like first-hand experiences, see what their thoughts are.
The thing that was kind of a shock was hopping on a train. I had never been on a train. Now it seems really normal, but I hopped on a train, went through the beautiful countrysides of Germany down to a little city called Marana. And I remember being kind of shocked at how small it was and that we had a car. And then there were little tiny things that were shocking to me. I mean, just for the fun of saying what they were, there was like a light switch. They're not like switches, they're kind of like pads. So you hit a whole entire pad. Or the pillows, they're not rectangle, they're squares. And they're windows, they don't open up and down or side to side. They tip in and out. And they open kind of like a door.
That's so interesting. It feels like it's not only just someone going from a different country to another country, it seems like someone going to another planet, but I actually quite enjoy it, man. It's really nice. But when he's talking about going on the train, like, is your first experience going on a train, going through the German countryside, must be such a beautiful experience. It must be so amazing. Like the videos I've seen of Germany, from all parts of Germany, whether it's the cities, the small towns, or the countryside, it just looks so beautiful and so wonderful. Imagine just getting that train. Going on any train journey when you're going on that long train journey can be like very beautiful and like a nice experience. But going through Germany, especially when he's talking about being surprised and impressed by different light switches and pillows and cushions, must have been a great experience.
So there was a lot of little differences like that. Our apartment had our washer and dryer in the kitchen, and then I thought that was just our apartment, and then I realized a lot of apartments are like that. So those were little tiny things, but nothing big. My favorite food in Germany is just schnitzel and rotkohl. Rotkohl is just red cabbage, and they would have Klöße. So that's basically it looks like a potato, but it's not. It's just a dumpling. I guess that's what it is in English. And that was my favorite, was when we just had schnitzel, rotkohl, and Klöße. I also really liked rouladen, which was just meat rolled up and they'd marinate it, and it just tasted really good. I liked their meat, simply said. I really learned to like red cabbage, which I disliked. I also liked sauerkraut. Didn't like that either. So, but by the end, I pretty much liked anything they put in front of me. The weather.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think German food is very underrated when it comes to like people's favourite cuisine and things like that. Like, it's something for me. German food is just solid, man. It's just so good. Like, I go to like a German restaurant here. Now, I talked about it before. I might make a video about it because it, like, I don't know what German people would think about it if it was authentic, but it's actually, like, for me, it's really good, man. The sausage, the bread, everything is really nice. But it's German food, I feel like, is very fulfilling, very hearty, very enjoyable, man. So I can see why he would enjoy when he's mentioning food. It sounds simple, but I can believe it would be super tasty.
In Germany is similar to here in Utah. I mean, the hots are a little bit hotter and the colds are a little bit colder due to the humidity. I really like their traditions that revolve around music and the traditions that revolve around Christmas. They start Christmas at the very beginning of December, and they have the Advent site, which is the time of the Advent, and they have these Advent calendars and they have Advent wreaths, and they celebrate each Sunday prior to the Christmas morning. And that's a tradition that I would want to hold up for the rest of my life.
I'm a big fan of Christmas too.
And another tradition that I found interesting was they open their gifts on Christmas Eve, which is interesting to me. I always thought you do it Christmas morning, but Germans are a little bit different that way. Let's see, another cultural thing about Germany is the public transportation. So you don't see as many cars in cities, and the roads aren't very wide because they all take public transportation. It was interesting because I spent majority on the east side, which was under communist rule, where the DDR was these last not too long ago. And so we met a lot of people who were communists. I never thought that I would become friends with a bunch of communists. It just never crossed my mind as an American, but it ended up being wonderful. I had a lot of friends that had a lot of different political views that I had never really viewed before. I learned to respect other people's opinions a lot more, to not be so hasty to judging. And I realized that the ideals of communism can be appealing. I mean, maybe I shouldn't categorize them all as communists. A lot of them were just socialist and had more of those communistic ideals. But it was still an eye-opener to me when I started making friends with people with other political perspectives.
The people, is that something that still shows in the makeup of Germany? Is like, do people's political opinions change on what would have been East Germany and West Germany before, or is it much more like intermingled now? Is it people have like different political views all over Germany? Is it very mixed now, or do people still have these like socialist, communist views more in the East, and people are more like on the democratic side on the West? Very interested to know how that kind of shows in modern Germany.
If you're wanting to learn German, the key to speaking any language, I think, is just speaking it constantly, and you can do it. I didn't think I was going to be able to learn a language, but I got a lot of support from my siblings who would write me letters saying, oh, you can try something more like this, try something like that. For example, my sister, she plays the piano, so she kept telling me to continue to study and memorize the charts of the German language, which tell you der, die, and das, so the masculine, feminine, and neuter cases, and when it's going to be nominative, dative, genitive, things like that. And you memorize these endings, and she compared those to a scale, like when you're learning the piano. And so she said, just keep memorizing those, and that proved to be really beneficial. Also, in learning German, the first thing I learned is was bedeutet. So what does this word mean? So you'd say was bedeutet Haus, and then they'd say in English house. So that makes it so you can continue a conversation just by asking somebody, what does that word mean, and then they can answer that. And then the second sentence I learned was wie sagt man. Wie sagt man means how do you say tree? So wie sagt man tree, and then they'd say Baum. So those two sentences were the first things I learned in German. And then from there, if you're stranded on the street and you have to speak, you can always struggle to put a sentence together. But really, in the end, learning the language wasn't the issue. After about 4 months, it was no longer an issue. I just woke up, studied the language, and it just came pretty naturally.
Really enjoyed that video. It was good. Again, like as I said, it's nice to see like people's experience or their opinions of Germany, how they lived in Germany, what they enjoyed about it. And all these videos that I see people talking about Germany, they're always so positive, and it just seems like a great place to live in all areas. Like nothing seems too negative. Any of the negatives people talk about, it seems like things that are not really a problem. Learning the languages sounds quite interesting as well. Me being from the UK, we learn German in school, so I think I have like a small understanding of some words, and I think probably in my head somewhere there is some German language there. So I think maybe in some videos I might try and learn some just for fun, and I guess it's kind of productive as well to learn another language. And if I do decide to come to Germany this year, at least have a better understanding. So tell me if there's any good resources for learning German, and tell me what you think about his viewpoints on Germany and his life in Germany. Thanks.